Please, one, don't mind my chair squeaking. Just don't. Um, and say hi to Grandma. Hi, Grandma. All right. So if you follow me, you've seen that I told you guys to tune in today. Get something special. It's not anything like ooh, totally new. Today is Grandma's second anniversary since she's been home. And say hi to Jackson back there. And some amazing things have happened today. I actually did this video days ago this week, but after today actually happened, I knew I needed to do a different one. I took this week as I tried to do last year, to just kind of be in the moment. Last year was very different from this year. And, the first year you're just trying to figure out how you feel, life, what it is, from that point on and so on. And the second year, I think, is more difficult than the first, only because now you're fully aware of the way life is going to be. Uh, but so this week I was able to really take it in and just kind of be with her and reminisce and go over, just memories and happy thoughts and what, whatever. Um, Last year, I tried to post this on Instagram, but for some reason it wouldn't post. Last year, today, I got the best little text from my two most favorite little people in the world, from Joe and Kyla. And Joe sent me a text that said, "Tell your grandma we said thanks for the rain." And if you're in California, then you know why that's such a big deal now. And then he sent me a video of his sister, Kyla, who's so adorable. She's my little BFF. And she basically, if I could put it into this video, if I knew how, I would, because it is the cutest thing. And I'm really upset that Instagram would not upload it for some reason. But she's just basically in the screen saying, "Thanks for all the rain." It's so cute. I love her to death. Um, the reason that's so important is because today, 2 years later, a year later from then, we just got a downpour. And I don't believe in coincidences. Too many things have happened to show me that that just isn't the way it is. That God gives us all types of things so that we know He's there. And that was definitely one of them today. And I'm so thankful for things like that. Last year I did two things to bring in the first year. I went and got this one right here. I got this done. My "Don't Forget to Pray" in hers. In her handwriting, in Grandma's handwriting. And then I spent the day at the beach, at my beach, where I got baptized. And Jackson and I just sat out there and we listened to some worship music and we prayed and we talked to Grandma. That's basically how we spent our day. Very relaxing. Well, that was a Friday last year, so the end of the day and then the next day. Yeah, we combined it. Anyway, but today was absolutely perfect. For those of you who don't know, the day before Grandma went home, I was talking with a friend and I was telling him we didn't know each other very, very well. We know each other through a mutual friend, and I guess we're getting to know each other a little more. And he asked a little bit more about personal life things. And through the conversation, he had explained that his service that he had went to where it was talking about how God comes in and interrupts our lives. And, you've got this idea of what you think you need to do, what you want your life to be, and how you want it to be lived, and so on and whatnot. And even it could even be according to, God's law and rule and everything. But he still has something different. So he comes in and he changes things that we're not expecting. While he was telling me this, Grandma had called and I missed the phone call. So we hung up and I called her right back and I never got to talk to her after that. It was really difficult for me because for a long time there were moments where she had times of fear. I don't know what it was really from, but they were just moments. It didn't last very long or anything. And I just kept, I was so afraid that it was one of those moments and she just needed to talk to me and then couldn't get a hold of me. I called and called and called and called and she didn't pick up again. So I ended up talking to her daughter afterwards, and she had told me that she had called me just for her. So it wasn't anything that I was afraid of. But I missed that call, and the next day I got the phone call that she went home. And, those types of things stick with you for a little while, even though, the ins and outs of it, it still can hit you. But my point of it is that I'm a heavy, heavy, heavy believer in the rapture and the last days, Revelation. If you're a Christian, it's hard for you not to believe in it. And if you don't, I don't know what you're reading. But anyway, just saying. But Grandma and I talked about it often. We talked about it for as besides John 3:16. Revelation was what I began in when I started to learn the Bible. And we focused on it a lot. And then we would go through the Gospels and so on. And it was always something that we looked forward to. Not just reading it. Like the whole thing, like it happening. And we talk constantly about it. We, what we would do in the hopes that, we would hope that all of us make it and we all go and, but you never know another person's heart. You don't know their situation. So you just pray for them and hope that, you all end up together. Well, with the life Grandma led, and just the life she lived so long through so many battles, and be it health-wise, just life situations, whatever, that I had this strong, strong feeling that I would never have to feel what it feels like to lose her. I figured the way things were going with the world and what she's been through and our life together and whatnot, that we were going in the rapture together, that I wouldn't have to feel what everybody else felt. I considered myself very, very lucky when I would think of it that way. And then it didn't happen that way. And I wasn't angry. I don't really know what the word was, but I sat there with her and I put my head down on her hand and I yelled at God in my mind, I wasn't out loud. It wasn't angry and I wasn't upset. I was just taken back. I figured we've done everything right. We've done everything we're supposed to. This should have been my gift that I felt I was entitled to for some reason. Um, and I'm not the only one. I think our entire family felt this way, that we would never have to feel that. The time was coming so close that we felt that we're all going together. So it's not something that we'd have to really think about, even though she and I prepared, since the time I was little, because just the nature of, age and whatnot. But I was really hurt. Not that she was leaving, but that it wasn't that way. And she just looked at me and she told me not to cry, that he has a reason for everything. This was originally when she first went into the hospital. And it's what I think of every day, all the time, 24 hours a day. That replays in my head all the time. I'm not torn up about it. I'm not broken up about it. I'm not, I miss her more than there are words to say how much, but I know how happy she is. I know how excited she is. I know that she has everything she's ever dreamed of, everything she ever worked for, she has now. And how can you be mad about that? How can you be angry or upset about it? Besides the fact that she still irritates me on a daily basis with the little things that she likes to do here and there. But that's okay. That's how I know it's her, because it's things that the things that happen are the same things that would happen every day between her and I. So while it's annoying, I know it's her. And I think that's why. So that I know it's her. But, we have our days, and when the days become a little harder, a little more difficult for me, she shines just so bright that it's almost impossible for me to be able to feel sad, which even in the moments, it's not even sadness. It's just, sometimes it's just tears of happiness for her, or the fact that I can feel her. And it's great. I don't know what I would do without it. I think I'd be a complete wreck. But today, on the way to church, which is how I decided to spend the day with her today, because obviously, but on the way to church, there was a song playing that played the day, later on that day. And it, and I always forget who sings it, but it basically says, "I will rise when he calls my name," which is what stuck out to me, because when I heard it, the first thing I thought of was the moment she met Jesus and what it was like. He called and she went. And so it played on the way to church, and church is about, like, I don't know, it's like 20 miles or something, which sounds like a lot, but it really isn't that far. I don't know. Anyway, from where I'm at. And it was the first song that played when I got in the car today. And I cannot tell you what that did to me. It's an emotional wreck. I don't even know why I go to church with makeup on. I don't, because I bawl like a baby during worship. It always happens. But right now we're studying the book of Acts. And obviously AD is on NBC right now. So it coincides with it. And it's really cool, especially for like people who are new to church or new to the Bible or, whatnot, and are trying to understand what they're watching on TV. It's definitely helping people, or helping give people some insight into what they're really watching. And we went through a lot of different things. about what it means to be a follower of Christ. And I wish more people knew what it felt like to be with her in her presence, talking about the Bible it was effortless for her. And it's not because she could read the Bible from cover to cover. It's not because she just memorized everything that there ever was. It wasn't like that. It's like the words were always given to her. And she knew how to listen. And, it was perfect. She'll always be like, she'll always be the closest thing to Jesus that I've ever seen. There's just no other way to describe how she was and how she is. Not just in my life, but anyone she comes in contact with. And one of the points today was God uses people who allow their lives to be interrupted. And it hits so hard because that's exactly the conversation I had the day before. And it definitely was. I mean, obviously, we had this idea of how life was going to go and where we were going, and then it just changed in an instant. For the better for both of us. Obviously, she's, hello, you don't get any better than that. And it launched me into a whole new insight of what it means to continue on. It really brought me into a bigger understanding of what Acts is. And Acts is, quickly becoming, next to Revelation, my favorite chapters, because for me, it's equivalent to what I'm doing, or where I want my life to go, or where I feel as if it's going. Peter and John went out and they did amazing things in the name of Jesus. And they did this after the fact of just this insurmountable torture and just, they went out after. They took his name, they took his presence, they took his spirit, and they didn't let it die. Because of them, Jesus is known all over the world, not in just the Middle East and in Israel and Jordan and in that little, that section of the world. He's known worldwide because disciples were not afraid to go out and speak the truth. And yes, they were killed for simply speaking the truth that people didn't want to hear. And I can't tell you that it doesn't give you some sort of fear to know that that's happening in the world today still. But the fact is that they took what they knew to be right and true for God and didn't care. Because they knew that the more people they went to, the more people that were going to turn their lives over to him, the more people that would have eternal life. And without them, she wouldn't know anything. And she wouldn't have lived her life for Christ. And she wouldn't have eternal life, and we would never see each other again. I don't think people really understand just how big of an impact we have as just simple people. I don't care what you do in life. I don't care, what things you've accomplished or haven't achieved, or, if you just reached your peak and you're just perfect, or if you are at the very, very bottom of nothing. There's something in you God needs to use, and He's waiting for you to allow Him to do that. Today, we talked about helping just one person. Just one. Our church has about 13,000 people that went last week. And it was really interesting the way that they put up this, PowerPoint thing. And it said, for 13,000 people, if every one of us just went out and helped one person, just one, right? We went out and we loved one single person. We gave that one person attention. We talked to that one person about God. In 1 week, that's 13,000 people that have now heard the word of God. And then the next week you double it and you do 2, and so on and so forth. By the end of the year, within a year, you'll reach 500,000 people. Do you know what that means? 500,000 people will have heard your love story, will have heard what He's done for you, and that He can do it for them. I am very, not weary, but I'm very careful about certain things. I'm a very big Eminem fan. I know, it sounds so bad coming from a Christian, right? You would think, right? But last night, I heard a song with Yellow Wolf in him called My Best Friend. And you'd never know what it was about unless you turned it on. And it's about God. And it's about Jesus. And let me tell you, I was not only shocked, but my heart was beaming. I was so happy. I wasn't a fan of Eminem originally. It took me listening to or watching like a documentary on him for me to really pay attention. And it hit me because he and I basically had the same life. I mean, situational being. And I was able to connect with that. So I became a fan, and I understood where he was coming from in his music, and I really resonated with it because I knew that pain. I felt that pain every day, the same type that he would talk about, him and his mother and this, that, and the other, and where they grew up and how they grew up, and just, it was me, just in a different part of the world, the United States, whatever. So I really gravitated towards him. And besides the fact that he's an amazing just lyricist, okay, let's just on just a whole other different level. It's just a whole different topic. He just is. But that's doesn't even need to be said. But anyway, watching him throughout the years has been really, really interesting. Watching him go through his struggles with drugs, which is something I didn't have, but I was a product of, I was the one affected by it, even though I wasn't the one doing it. So even, just in different levels, I was still able to understand that. And I watched, you watch him go back and forth. You watch him deal with what he has to say and what he has to do every day, and it's difficult. It's difficult to do it by yourself without anyone, and then to be in front of, millions and millions of people on a daily basis. You can only imagine. And you watch him go through, his different legal battles and his addictions and rehab and cleaning his life up, and seeing if anything says how this man, what this man truly is, it's seeing his daughter grow up through all of this and be an honor student and graduating high school and going to college. That's a testimony in itself. But for him specifically, you go through all of these things, and he may still cuss, and it may still be, he may still have this going on, and he may still have that going on, and he still may be battling certain things. But for someone with a story like his to be able to come up and say, he's my best friend. No matter what happens, no matter what I do, I look to him, and I know that he's the one that's there for me. When you come out and you're this person that's gone through all of this, that everybody around the world has watched their entire, his entire career, to see how he's turned things around for himself and the way he's done it, and he's out there proclaiming that God is his best friend. I don't care if it's just a song and anybody believes this and that or whatnot. It takes a lot for a person to come out and speak his name. And I have to applaud him for that. I am really, really moved by it. And I am so happy that, you have somebody who is just a plain old sinner, just a plain old person who you've watched for so long be able to stand in front of someone and say, I've done it all wrong. I've messed up so many times. And yet I know that no matter what, as long as I'm here and I'm repenting and I'm telling him that I need him in my life, that he's there for me. That's what is courageous, especially in a world like today, where people don't want to hear it, and people think that you're one way or you're another, or you're a racist or you're homophobic or you're so on, and whatever word you want to use because of your faith. I'm sorry, but to me, that's more courageous than anything that's happened in I don't know how long, in celebrity news, in the news in general. It takes a lot to be that person. It takes a lot to become a role model when you never wanted to be one. And it's the fact that you got to go out and you tell your story, because there's people like me that live that life in another way, but that generate with it, that may not be at the level of trusting in God yet, that's going to watch that's going to listen to those lyrics, that's going to listen to what he's saying, they're saying, both of them, and say, he's there for me too, and change their life. You don't understand what it means and what it feels like when he changes your life until it happens. And I wish that I had really, really taken that into consideration years before I did. I mean, I've always been a follower, and I've always loved God, and I've always loved Jesus. But it's when you really actually open your heart and you let him in that you understand what it means. And it's hard to explain it to somebody that hasn't. And I totally get that. But all I can tell you is that for me, had I known that love, I would have appreciated her so much more. And had her been able to see that. I mean, she and I had a weird relationship because we were so much alike, yet so different. But everything I know and everything I've ever learned has been because of her. Her life was interrupted in so many different ways, and she never once Never once questioned it. She never once turned away from it. She always went full force. She wanted to be a missionary when her kids grew up and left, and she wanted to go help the world. But she couldn't because God came in and said, sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt for a second and give you this little 6-month-old baby. 6-month-old baby, not year old. And take her under your wing and lead her. And she did. And she did it so well. She did it so well. I wish that there was, I know that she can see it, and I know that she's around, and I know that she's with me every day, and I know that she's still guiding my steps, whether I can see it or not. But I know that she's there, and I know that this is only temporary. And I have to thank my friends that have been around me. I chose a life alone. I chose a life where a family was not going to be my focus. And I know everybody, please hold your comments, because it's the right choice. And I knew it was the right choice when I made it. My life is going towards where she led me, and it's to Christ, and it will always be that way. And I'm happy that way. But you don't take into consideration random moments that happened or will happen, you know what I mean, where you need someone. Most people at this age will have children or a husband or, whatever. And I didn't have any of that to fall on. And I know a lot of people were really worried because I didn't have that. And because of the fact that they were so worried about me, I was okay. My friends have been there in insurmountable ways. I will never be able to thank them enough. They've given me so much love and so much attention that I don't like, but so much love and attention that it was difficult to even be sad if I wanted to. I have a wonderful family in them, alone, and their children. And Grandma left me in such amazing hands. And to a couple of you out there, she asked you guys to take care of me, and we laughed. And she was really worried about me. And I think that was, well, I know it was something that we talked about a lot. And I would tell her over and over again, Grandma, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be okay. I'm an adult. I am not a child anymore. And I haven't been one since I was 12, really. So I'm going to be okay. But, you're a mom. You never really fully believe that anyone can take care of, your children the way you can. And it's true, they can't. But to the ones that she asked, I just, you guys have answered her and honored her wishes in so many different ways. And I don't know where I would be or how well off I would be without you guys. And it's been perfect. I've kind of gone all over the place in this video, but it all comes full circle. It's all for her, and because of her, it's all for him. This is my time that I leave a life I've led for so long. This is my axe, my own personal axe, and not axe, acts with a T. This is the moment to be Peter and John. This is the moment to go out and spread his gospel, spread his word. And as far as I know, that's the only reason, not just me, but I'm just saying, that's one of the reasons I'm still here and she's home, because he still needs the work done. We are not all safe. We are not all ready to go. And whether you are afraid to believe it, whether you are, you don't believe, or whatever the case is, maybe you do, but you just don't understand. He's on his way. He is coming with a vengeance. And I just want to let you know that you have time. It's not a lot, but you have some time. And if you think that what the life that you're living right now isn't enough, it probably isn't. My life isn't enough. What I'm doing isn't enough. What your pastor and your preacher and your priest and so on, what we're all doing is not enough. It will never be enough. But you got to do something. And all he wants you to do is come to him. The things that you're doing in your daily life, when it just gets to be too much and you can't understand what you're doing wrong and why you're not doing it right and why things just aren't working out, it's because you're not letting him deal with it. You are trying to deal with it, and you're not going to do it right. You're not. Trust me, a control freak. I know. It's so difficult to let things go. Trust me, I know. But you have to. And that's what he wants from you. Yes, you have to go out and do things. But what he's looking for is he's looking for right here to go like this. Gates open, doors open, walls down, and say, Jesus, I need you. I can't fix this. I can't do it right. I'm doing everything wrong, or I'm doing something wrong. And I'm trying to fix messes that are not fixable, or I don't know, or maybe they are and I just don't know how to do it. And give it to the one who knows how to do it. I mean, why are you worrying about things you can't change? And you know that. Think about the situation. Think about it. You've probably already tried to do everything to change it and it hasn't worked, right? Am I right? Okay, that's what I thought. Well, so why do you keep trying to change it? That's the definition of insanity, right? Right? Same outcome. Thank you. Just kidding. My point is that when you don't have to do it all. I know it feels like you have to do absolutely everything sometimes. And if you don't, you don't give a job to somebody when you know that you are the one that's going to do it right. Listen, when I go to get a haircut, not the short one, like when my hair is long, I don't even go anymore because I know they're not going to cut it the way I want it cut. So I cut it myself. And yes, it always turns out the way I want it. Yes, so that's probably not what you're thinking. But when I want to do something really, really drastic, when I want to really, really do it up, I don't do it myself. I don't. I go to the person who I know can do it the way it's supposed to be done. And voila. I mean, I did the color, but and it's not really coming out. You can't really see it, but it's okay. It's purple. But it's true, right? I had this conversation with a friend yesterday who is becoming very impatient. Not becoming. She's been impatient, but she knows that. about situations in her life and the progress that she's trying to, you know, get to and move along and whatnot. And my answer to her is always, you got to be patient. Things don't come to you like that. They just don't. Things don't happen that way. And in the rare instances that they do, you don't appreciate it. And it's basically this. I am a Kings fan and a Raiders fan. So you guys know already that the last 10 years plus have not been that great to us. But if I were to walk away from that, from being a fan, and then coming back when they win everything, what does that say about me? What does that say about me? I'm a bandwagon fan, right? A fair weather fan, or whatever you want to call it. I don't deserve to be in the moment of appreciating and celebrating what they worked so hard towards when I wasn't there during the worst of it, during the planning of it, during the hard work, during, the whole time you're waiting, during the time that I should have been very patient. And that's life. It's the same way. You don't get to heights that you've been trying to get to by simply just waiting and expecting it to happen without any of the work. It doesn't work that way. Heaven is the same way. How do you think you're going to get to heaven simply because you were a good person, or because you followed the rules, or because you I don't know, you did some like volunteer work. I don't know, whatever. You can't just, heaven is, there are many ways that many things that you need to do in order to get there. It's not just as simple like, I'm going to think this, so it's going to happen. No. He knows what's going on in here. Like, you could be saying one thing and what's in here is totally different. He hears this. He doesn't hear this. This is not this right here. No, it's this. It's right in here. What you're thinking, all this right here, that's what he hears. And he hears it before you even say it. So, or even think it, really, like he already knows where you're going with it. And you have to clear your heart. You got to get all that out. You got to get the junk out. You got to move it all out and just be in the moment with him and say, God, come in here. Come in. Work on this right here. This right here, work on it. Get it and put your hands on it, mold it right just in your soul, get in there and do what I need done, because I don't know what it is. And you have to allow him to do it, and then you have to listen. Let me tell you something. I've said it before, but when you give your life over to him, your senses are totally different. You see things differently. You hear him louder. You are a part of him because he's all of you. You've given yourself to him. So everything that you've been trying to understand when you're reading your Bible, you're not reading it anymore. He's reading it to you. You just have to listen. He'll give you the ways to understand it. That right there, that could be in like Latin or Hebrew or Aramaic or Arabic, whatever, any other language. And I could open it and I would know what it said. And I don't know any of those languages because it's not me that's reading it. I've got it open and it's there. But my Father is reading me his story, his love story to all of us. That's why it's so easy for me to understand it. And those, that you might come across here and there who talk about it. But it's the ones who talk to you and not at you that are the ones who really understand. There are going to be people out there that judge you. There's going to be people out there that think, of the same nature. Not even like, I'm not even talking about like atheists or agnostics or any of it. I'm talking about other, believers. There are going to be people out there that treat you inferior, and that's okay. What do they know? It doesn't sound like they know very much. It doesn't sound like they're even listening, does it? No, it doesn't. Because somebody who thinks that you might not be on the right path or you might be straying is going to come to you with an open heart and ask you what you need. They're going to talk with you. They're not going to talk at you. They're not going to throw judgment at you. They're going to ask you what you think. They're going to ask you what you think is going on, how you feel, what questions you have, what are you going through. They're going to sit down and be empathetic with you. Know that. Know the difference, because it's a big difference. And that goes to all of you that are out there not being empathetic to others. Just remember that. I'm just saying. And you can be a believer and still love people that are different. Okay, let me be very clear. I did not know that. I mean, I did in some cases, but not in others, which that was before. It's not now. And it became a very like rude awakening to me, a good one, but very, like, wow, you don't, drug addicts were my issue. I couldn't see any good in them at all because of what I lived with and, or grew up with, I should say. Well, both, actually. And it's one of those things where I didn't understand until now. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good way to live, because it's obviously not. But I'm looking at a person and I'm not looking at their soul. I'm not looking at their heart. I'm looking at what I'm seeing in front of me. And I wasn't being empathetic to them. I was making a judgment, and I didn't want it around my grandma. And I didn't want to be around it. And it's an awful way of life, so it shouldn't be around anyone, which it shouldn't. I mean, it's awful. Like, if there's any way to, like, just, completely just get rid of it from the world, then yeah, let's do it. But that's not the case. So in the meantime, talk to them. They may not want to talk to you, but that's okay. They don't have to. And people have become so sensitive to certain subjects that, we as Christians or believers have become, the black sheep. Don't talk to them because they're this and they're that. And, this is so awful. And I can't believe they would say this. And it's because people are taking what we believe and completely that's okay. That's for another video. But anyway, they're taking us and just blowing it fully out of proportion. Let me tell you, people, that woman right there, she taught me nothing but love. My heart is full of love. And I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what you do. I know God loves you. He may not love what you're doing, and he may not like the way that you're living your life and the choices that you've made, but you know what? You, the person, he still loves you. He absolutely loves you, and he wants to fix it all for you. That addiction that you have that you just can't get away from, he wants to take it away from you. But you're holding on to it so tight because you think you need it, You're just like, you won't let it go. And all he's saying is, if you just go like this, it's going to be as if it was never there. But you got to let him do it. And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult because, like I said, I'm a control freak. And for me, letting go of something like that is just not, it's just not doable. It's just so awful. I mean, how do I know that this and this and this, it's just, what am I doing? I'm not trusting him by doing that, right? And I want to speak to the believers mostly, or the ones who, claim to be believers. You cannot continue trusting him and believing him and asking him to help you in your life, when this goes wrong or that goes wrong, when you are not willing to let go of your vices. Those desires are not of him. And you know what I'm talking about, because you have what I'm talking about. You've got something. Like mine is vanity. So awful. I know. It's awful. I'm trying. I'm still trying. But that's the point, is that you're going to have certain things about you that aren't right, you shouldn't be doing. Because if you believe in him, you believe in his word, and you believe what it says, but you're having a hard time letting it go, getting through it and working through it, but you have to keep working with it. You have to keep believing that he's going to take it away from you. Let me tell you, before like the last couple years, my issue with vanity was, it was awful. It was so bad. I would say things about people that I shouldn't be saying, and myself and friends and whatnot. It wasn't like I wasn't being rude to them, but just in general, like it was really, really, really bad. Now it's only like this much bad. That bad. It's bad grammar. Anyway, because I'm working on it. He's taken so much of it away from me that I don't feel the urges and the, just the desire to need it to be a certain way anymore. And it's because I continue to work with him. It's because I continue to ask him and believe that he can take that feeling away from me. That addiction that I have is going to be gone. That he's going to take it. And I don't ever have to worry about it again. And it works. And it works. You just got to keep believing. I know. It's cheesy. But it's true. Promise you. All right, people. I just want to thank you guys for being with me, all the time. This amazing woman right here is more than enough to give thanks for. And I'm so excited for her and everything that she's experiencing and everything that she's doing, and not just, heaven, but in my life. She truly is his hardest working angel, and I imagine her standing next to him in the rapture when I am on my way. And that's an amazing feeling, because she truly, truly, truly is just one of his biggest warriors, and I am honored to be the one that she looks after. Well, not just the one, but yeah. So today, I hope you guys go out and enjoy the rain. I know it's already late, but anyway, enjoy that. That's God pouring out his love all over us, and he just wants everyone to know that you're loved. All right, guys, I will see you guys soon. I plan on doing this once a week again, probably on Thursdays. If I can get things up and running a little better. I need to get this video fixed. I don't know why it looks like this, but anyway. So there's that, and I will see you all soon. Bye.